Good afternoon. My name is Joanna Leone, and I am the Membership Manager here at WERC. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to join us for today's presentation. Today's webinar is being recorded, and all participants are in listen-only mode. The information discussed in today's session represents the views of the individuals and does not constitute legal advice or the views of WERC. You should consult with your organization's leadership and legal counsel as needed for your specific situations. At the end of today's presentation, we will have a question and answer period. We will utilize the chat box and question area located at the bottom of your screen or along the right-hand side, depending on your settings. So without further ado, I would like to turn the presentation over to today's facilitator, Nick.
Hi, my name is Nick Papanikolas, and I'm with REB Storage Systems International, and we're located out of Chicago, Illinois. We have various offices throughout the United States, on the East Coast and on the West Coast. And again, I'm the account executive here at their headquarters here in Chicago. And this presentation is going to be about picking carts and about why they're important. And if you have any questions and any problems that you need to discuss, please don't hesitate to ask me during the presentation, and then hopefully I can answer your questions throughout the presentation. All right, the first thing, why are picking carts important, and what are the problems and processes for those picking carts? The good news, again, there is a cart for each problem, hopefully, and they can help you with your process during your warehouse operation. Time is the most important part of getting your product in and out of your warehouse to your customers, and a lot of time is spent with trying to execute this product properly, and also given towards what kind of racking systems you have in your warehouse, but not a lot of time and effort for most people is given towards choosing the correct picking cart for your operation. And you have to find out what your picking cart might suit your needs, what your problems are, keeping an eye on your employees in the warehouse and seeing what problems occur while they're picking product from your racking system, and then getting it either from shipping out to the customer or receiving that product to put it back onto the racking system that you currently have in your warehouse. So I'm going to start at the very base of the cart itself and go into the casters of the cart and why that's important with the cart. So we're going to start with the foundation. Plastic casters are probably the most economical method on the cart, and they are cheap, but they also wear out quickly. And then the next type of caster that's available is a phenolic caster. Those are the type of casters you commonly see on shopping carts in the grocery stores, and they are longer lasting. They're made of hard rubber, and the good thing about casters is that you can bolt them on versus having them welded on. And if you have them welded on, you have to get a welder to break the weld and get them off and so forth. With a bolt-on caster, you can exchange them quite easily on and off the cart. And then the other type of caster is a steel caster that's used for heavy-duty loads. And with that caster, it's usually used not so much if the floor is important, because they can cause grooves to occur and marks on the floor and tear up your floor quite easily, but they are a long-lasting type of caster that's available for your cart. And finally is the nylon caster. And with the nylon caster, it's used basically if you're trying to have something that is quiet, that won't leave any marks on the floor. But with the nylon caster, it can be torn up quite easily and wear out quite fast. So if it's a heavy use cart that's used quite frequently in your warehouse, then that may not be the right caster for your cart. But if you're working, for instance, in a hospital or somewhere where you need to be quiet and where you're really concerned about the floor itself, then I would go with a nylon caster. Excuse me, the next slide, if I can get this thing moving, here we go, is about what type of cart is best for the use of your different types of applications in your warehouse. And a lot of times pickers, they have problems seeing product and being able to choose what type of product is on their cart when they're filling their orders. And to fix that problem, an easy identification method on the cart is to have the shelves themselves slanted out so that you can easily see the product or shelf bins that are situated inside the cart that you're using. So that's good for, like, small parts and parts that are inside of boxes, small boxes, and so on, can be put onto that type of a cart. Again, any questions, please stop me, and I can hopefully answer any questions as I go through the presentation. The next cart that is being used is called a U-boat cart in the industry, and this is used to retrieve product in and out of the back room onto a sales floor, for instance, quite frequently used in the grocery industry. And these are good for holding large boxes and small boxes, variety of boxes, and so forth. And if you notice in this picture, it has handles on each side of the cart to push the U-boat in and out of the back room, for instance. And also, if you have broken down boxes that are folded, you can stack different sized boxes with the little wire dividers that are welded onto the shelves that you see in the photograph. And again, this cart can also hold heavier loads. For instance, instead of just having 4 wheels, it has 6 wheels on those carts to hold, a little bit heavier load going in and out of your back room. Again, the other thing I wanted to also mention, with these carts, you can customize the cart to pretty much anything and hopefully solve any type of a problem that you might have in your warehouse. Picking products that might be out of reach, you can add a small step stool to it. You can have a little small ladder attached to the cart itself. So if somebody is small in stature, they can still be able to reach up and grab product that is higher up on your racking that you're pulling product from, and be able to achieve whatever is the problem or restriction that is occurring with your cart. So hopefully the cart will help you solve some of those problems. So again, ladder carts and step stools are a great method with the ladder carts and so forth. I've got a question from Kevin. It looks like, have you seen issues with carts and ladders with insurance? I've heard putting ladders on carts can be an insurance nightmare. Actually, it's kind of the opposite of that. I've seen ladders actually help solve, back issues that are caused by overreaching for product, if that makes sense, and trying to pull down product that might be too high to get to without a ladder or a step stool. And as you can see on these carts, they have handles, you know, for people to hold on to in case they might fall or something like that. They're pretty, you know, safety conscious as far as how they're built and so on. And hopefully that'll answer that question. The next cart that I'm getting into here just shows the wide variety of product that you can organize on your cart, and to hopefully keep your cart organized with shelf bins and dividers that are on these carts and so on. And you have different types of, you know, shelf bins that you can put onto the carts. You can put labels on the sides of the carts itself to designate different types of products on the carts. You can have barcodes put onto the, you know, sides of the carts there. As you can see, those little label holders on this cart, which hopefully will help, you know, especially if you're scanning product on and off the cart, help to locate those items faster and easier, and make the whole expediting of product on and off those racking systems in the warehouse to get that product over to the receiving and shipping in a timely manner, I should say. The next question, or the next slide, I should say, is about trying to keep product on the cart. If you have problems with product falling off of the carts, you can actually get strapping that goes completely around the cart to keep the product secure on the cart itself, and to get anything, you know, if you're, you know, having larger loads, you're moving, you know, back and forth from your rack to the receiving or shipping area, you can strap that product onto the cart. So that's another option that you would have with these type of carts. The other method of keeping carts and product on the cart is having a lip going around the perimeter of the cart itself. So you can customize your cart with, you can see these lips that are going around the outside of the cart itself on the different shelves on the cart. With that cart, you can also have it so that, you know, the cart handles, you know, are attached on the outside of the cart. You can have various spots where you can have those cart handles welded. And again, customizing the cart for the need of the company that is using that cart, so that the employees can easily push that cart around the warehouse easily without having, you know, any, you know, issues with trying to move the cart around. The other thing, like I mentioned before, is there's 6 sets of casters that are on the bottom of the cart. So this cart can carry a heavier load versus a cart with just 4 casters that are situated on the cart. Again, any questions, you know, please ask. The next one is a cart for extreme heavy loads to move, and you can actually fit an entire pallet load of product onto that cart itself. And I think it might hold upwards of 2,500 to 3,000 pounds, depending on the casters and so forth. And the other great thing about this cart is it has fork pockets situated in the bottom of the cart itself. And you can use that, with the fork pockets, you can raise and lower that cart up and down, in and out of the racking that you have in your warehouse, and move it around with a fork truck versus having to push it around if it gets to be that heavy of a load that you're carrying on that picking cart. The next cart that I am going to discuss is a cart that I've actually used just recently that I've sold to a customer And it's a conveyor gravity fed cart with the rollers on each level of the shelving that's on the inside of the cart. And there's two different types of rollers that you see in this slide. And the first slide on the right there is with plastic rollers, and on the left side is with metal rollers. The one on the right is for lighter duty product, and then the one on the left would be for heavier duty cartons and packages that go on those carts. The other thing is you can have dividers installed on these two gravity-fed carts. And this is for carts and product that is used that might be date sensitive or date coded, that you're trying to pick on and off of your racking system. And these carts can be moved around throughout your warehouse and pulled over to your packing stations where they might be packing the different product and so forth. This was used, like I mentioned, for one of my customers just recently. They're going through a test phase. It's a major grocery store chain that is here in Chicago that is using that specific type of cart in their warehouse. Again, any questions, please, don't hesitate to stop me and ask anything that might pertain to what I'm going through right now. The next cart, as you can see, is a cart for smaller, more delicate type of product. It's used primarily in the garment industry and also for any type of finished parts to go onto these. And these are clothing or packet material carts, and they have different towers, and they're made of textile. Each tower that is hung, as you can see in the slide here, from rails so that you can move the product around and so forth. And on these carts, you would have access on either side of the cart itself. Even though the slide doesn't show that, you can have it so that you can get to it on both sides of the cart. The other thing that's great with this type of a cart is that they have lips on each side of or each little cubby hole on each tower that's hung. And that's to keep the product secure inside of the cart and any type of small parts that might fall out of the cart while the employee is picking product from that cart. So again, they're vertically hung towers, and again, they have the lips that go around the perimeter of the cart itself. And again, great for, the other thing I was also going to mention, mention with this type of a cart is they can hold product that goes from negative 20 degrees to upwards of 180 degrees Fahrenheit. And so they can hold up quite well in extreme temperatures. So if you're using this cart, for instance, in a blast freezer that might be minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit, it'd be a great cart to use in that type of an application. Again, any questions, please ask. The cart itself also has handles that can be attached to push the cart in and around your warehouse. My next cart, speaking of blast freezers, is quite frequently used in blast freezers. And this cart, again, can carry heavy loads and is also made so that the person that is doing the picking can actually get strapped into that cart itself, and you can have eyelets welded on that cart so that the safety straps that's holding the employee onto that cart will help to secure the employee safely onto that cart. It also comes with no-slip strips that you see in the slide on the bottom of the cart, and has fork pockets on the bottom also to lift that person up and down throughout the racking system that you're picking from. And like I said, I've seen this cart used in a blast freezer, for instance, from a major food service distributor where they're holding their ice cream and so forth. He was picking ice cream from the blast freezer and putting it onto that cart because there's extra room for holding product on that cart, so that you can get it back and forth and in and out of the rack there in the blast freezer. And you can also, again, use this cart in the, for cold, not just blast freezers, but coolers and dry goods. You can also use that to pick in and out of that cart. Okay. The next type of carts I'm going to get into here are carts that are used for extreme heavy loads. And these are all customized so that they're being used to pull heavy load product in and around the warehouse. And it, as you can see, there's a tugger is what it's called on the right side that you can hook into the cart with. And then also a Jeep that can also pull the heavy loads around the warehouse. And these carts, they can be chained together so that you can move heavy loads long distances throughout the warehouse, but they can be linked, like I mentioned, with couplings, almost like a train. And they can, I've seen them pulling 10 carts at a time. And I have a customer that I sold the tugger to. I sold 10 tuggers to one of my customers up in Wisconsin. They're a large automotive manufacturer, and they were making steel rotor brakes for the automotive industry, and also catalytic converters they're putting onto those carts, which were quite heavy, onto the individual carts. And each case was about 50 pounds per case, and they were storing approximately 50 cases per cart. So that's around 2,500 pounds, if my math is correct, going onto each individual cart. And they were chaining them together, like I said, like a train, and linking them together to pull 10 carts at a time with a Jeep, or using a tugger for the smaller trains that they were pulling around throughout the warehouse. Okay, next slide here. This cart is called a lift and tilt type of a cart, and that's if you need to slide product on and off and raise the cart up and down to move product from various conveyors to pallets, and pallets back onto conveyors and so forth, and different machinery that you're trying to move product from a horizontal position into a vertical position, and vice versa, from a vertical position back into a horizontal position, is where these carts come in quite handy, at least in my experience selling those to various companies around the market here. And this product I sold to a company that was making band saws that were used for the meat cutting industry and the grocery industry too, where they were making the band saws. And the band saws that were being produced there, and it's a company here in the Chicago area, that were going from a vertical position and vertical testing machinery, and then they were having to be taken from a vertical position with these band saws and put into boxes, cardboard boxes, to get shipped out in a horizontal position. And they're going on conveyors back and forth from that vertical position down into the horizontal position, and vice versa. They were taking band saws in the horizontal position and then moving them into a vertical position to go onto that testing machine with and putting them on the big rollers that the band saws were going onto. I'm hoping I'm describing this well enough for everybody. But going from horizontal to vertical was a great way for these lift and tilt carts to work that product to help with the manpower of lifting those heavy bandsaws back and forth like that. And the other thing with this cart, again, it saved labor of having, I think they were using like 6 people or something ridiculous like that to move one big roll of bandsaws onto that finishing machine and then taking it off that finishing machine back on into the cartons to be shipped out in the vertical or the horizontal position, I should say. And then the last cart that I've discussed in the past is a cart that's used, and I've sold these to another automotive manufacturer, and they were making axles, steel axles to go onto cars. I think Toyota cars or something like that. They were a Japanese company. And they were used to take steel axles that were unfinished. So they'd lower the lifting table that's situated on the cart and then bring it up to a higher position to go onto rollers where they would go through an acid bath and then also onto a finishing machine. They were finishing the axles as they got shipped out. So again, taking an unfinished product from a lower position and then raising it up into a higher position onto a conveyor, going through an acid bath, and then finally being put through another conveyor for the finishing of the axles themselves. Okay, and my last slide here that I am talking about that, again, if you have any questions, is about picking carts themselves. They're not something that is going to be going away soon. In fact, I've seen, again, going back to the grocery industry, they're going into the actual robotics and robotic picking carts that are being implemented in their warehouse. And again, the one customer that I sold the gravity flow conveyors to is putting a robotic system with their picking carts into their warehouse. And I know that from a fact because I know the electrician that's setting up the robotics for that warehouse. This is something that is part of our future. It's an integral part of the industry. And if the thing with having the correct picking cart, again, going back to my introduction, is the speed at which you take product on and off of the racking system that you're currently using. By having the correct cart, or whether it's robotics or whatever, will only increase your throughput for the warehouse and increase the amount of time it takes, or decrease, I should say, the amount of time it takes to get product on and off the rack into the shipping department or receive it and then put it away. The way you do that is by having the correct picking cart available for that specific type of warehouse. And with that, you're only going to have a more, I should say, you're going to, your bottom line is going to be much better, and your return on investment is going to be better, and it will only increase your profitability as you do business. Again, my name is Nick Papanikolas with Rep Storage Systems. Thank you for coming to this webinar, and I appreciate it. And if you have any questions, my email is available through this, and also you can also just, if you want to pick up the phone and give me a call, I'd be more than welcome to further talk about anything or any questions you might have in regards to picking carts. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you for everyone for joining today's event and participating in today's webinar. We ask that you check the WERC website for future webinars, and on behalf of the presenter and the entire organization, thank you again and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.
Bye.